What's up, gingos? Today I want to talk about this idea that I read from this book. Well, the whole book was called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And, he talks about in each chapter what contributes to the slight edge and having it. And before I even read this book, I kind of had these things as kind of assimilated in my brain, like each parts to it. But when he put it into words, it made so much more sense the way everything came together. And I just want to talk about some of the more important parts of the book per se that like really pertain to me, right? The first one was the idea of having a philosophy towards success. And I feel like the best way for you to get this philosophy is to have some success originally, right? And so for me, it came from the gym. So this idea of the philosophy would essentially be how the system you have in place to get that success, right? So for me in the gym, when I first started, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just went in there, I did some cardio machines, and then, over time, I would look around, I would see what other people were doing. I would be more and more curious. I would do research on my own time, and slowly but surely, I would put more and more time into the gym, right? So I would start going for a little bit longer. I started going more days out of the week, and then eventually I started cutting out other stuff from my life, like video games, or just when I would just sit around and watch TikTok or something, right? I would be like, you know what? Let me just go to the gym. And that was such a like pivotal moment in my life, and I didn't even realize because I was just doing it naturally. But it's how I approached everything that I wanted to get better in. I would slowly, my interest in it would slowly become more and more. I would do more research, and therefore I would get progress continuously. And then as I saw the progress, I would become obsessed. And then over a not long enough period of time, I just got the things that I always wanted, success, right? And at first, I just wanted to lose weight. I lost weight, and then eventually it became even more because I put on muscle. I got like aesthetic physique, and then I didn't just get this and say I got it. Like I did it for a longer period of time where other people told me. That's like the best proxy for you to realize if you got the thing that you ever wanted. If other people are like recognizing it on you and they're like telling you without you like not feeling for it, like don't ask people, like they'll naturally just come up and tell you, and that's how you know you got the success that you wanted initially, right? And that philosophy is what I apply to everything in life now, where I know that if I just start simple and to start doing it slowly but surely, just doing it steadily, right? I just start with the most simplest thing, right? Because I want this to be sustainable. I want to do it for a long enough period of time where I can just continuously do it and do it and do it day over day, right? And then slowly I do more and more research on the top people in the industry or whatever sector it is, right? Business, relationships, it doesn't matter, right? Just even building money, right? Whatever, everything in life is a skill, right? So you can do research on people who already have the skill, and then you implement it slowly but surely, and then you figure out how it works for you. And over enough long period of time, you will get the success in whatever venture you're going after. And I think the philosophy is, I feel like it's different for everyone, but I feel like that's like the core thing to do for you to make it as simple as possible. Start, research, keep going, right? You just take action, reiterate, and then just have a long-term mindset on this, and you'll eventually get it, right? Another thing he talked about was making the hard choice. In this chapter, he talked about like the idea of some guy giving his two kids money, and one son took the $1 million right away. The other guy took the penny who compounds every day. And everybody knows that story. The penny ends up being a lot more money than the $1 million because compounding is crazy. Right? It's like a scientific mathematical equation that like the human brain can't even understand. And so compounding comes from making the hard decisions every day, or just like having a long enough time horizon to let things compound, right? If you know how the stock market works, crypto works, you know how powerful compounding is, and you need to be able to differentiate between the hard choice and the easy choice, the comfortable choice and the uncomfortable choice, right? Because the comfortable choice is easy right now, you get that short-term gratification or whatever, right? But if you make the hard choices, the uncomfortable things, if you do what nobody else is willing to do, then in the long run, it will pay out. And it's not like you just did it just to do it right now. It will work out, and then I'm telling you. So always ask yourself, is this the easy choice or the hard choice? And always go towards the hard choice, because time and time again, I'm realizing it, everybody's realizing it. It's like the hard choice always does pay out. The next one was doing the mundane activities consistently, right? I read this in another book as well, where it was something, The Millionaire Next Door, something like that, right? Where they talked about how getting rich is actually kind of easy. It's just super boring, right? Like, in theory, if you were to invest in like a 401k or invest in the S&P 500 consistently over like 30 years, you'll be a millionaire, right? As long as you put the money in consistently and you just wait 30 years, right? And then that is boring. It's like just, oh, you told me to put my money here, wait, and just keep doing whatever I gotta do in life or whatever. And it is boring, but it's like time and time again, you'll realize the more and more you study successful people in whatever venture, it doesn't matter, their life is boring per se compared to like what you see, especially in the media. And I want to say like everything in the media is just like propaganda and it's all like artificial because nobody's life actually looks the way it does in media, right? You see like on Instagram or in like movies, or like in movies the timeline is like condensed into like a day or whatever, right? And that's not how life is. And Instagram, you're only seeing other people's like highlights. Nobody's posting their downfalls, right? So when you see this, you imagine everybody's life is so good and great all the time when that's not the reality, right? So once you start making that comparison, you don't want to do boring, mundane activities, but that's what actually gets you successful. It's like if you look at anybody, right? Like if you look at a singer, a lot of his life he was just practicing singing in his basement or whatever, right? Nobody was watching, and then one day he was like singing in some big sold out stadium or whatever, right? The people who are like rich, time and time again, they just sat there, they worked their job, they learned skills, they learned knowledge, and they applied it, they failed, they applied it, they failed until one day it came, right? Same thing with YouTubers, celebrities, everybody, right? They create videos, they create content, they star in shows, small ones or whatever, right? They barely get views, they barely get any money, clout, none of it, right? And they do it for so long, they don't quit, they just keep going and going, and one day it just happens, right? They start picking up on the little things that work, the things that didn't work, and they start implementing it, and they slowly just grow, right? Growth doesn't happen, success doesn't happen overnight. And like it's always said, like this guy's an overnight success, overnight sensation, whatever. That's bullshit, right? It's just what the media wants to feed you because it sounds good, it's a good headline. But success does not happen overnight. And same thing with collapse is not sudden, right? If you ever see someone like fall apart, or like back in the day when these empires would fall apart, it didn't just happen one day where like one day the whole thing, everything just fell apart. No, it's like slowly but surely. It's like if you built it up well, like think about it like a building. A building doesn't just collapse one day, like unless something drastic happens, obviously. But it's like, for this example, it's not good, but like in typically a building, right? It takes a long time to build it up, and it'll take a long time to come down, right? It's not gonna just be one little hit at the bottom brick and the whole thing comes falling down. No, it's not like that unless it was built artificially, right? So success doesn't happen overnight, and collapse isn't immediate. So if you're starting to go on a gradual downward like line, you'll know it because you'll see, like, start noticing, be aware of what's going on. Don't just be like, if something bad happened to you and it was like leading to, like, say like you one day got into like a driving accident, it didn't just happen one day. Like, you probably were driving recklessly a bunch of other times previously. You got into close accidents. People have told you you're not that good of a driver, you should practice more, you should slow down, this and that, right? And then one day it finally like just happened, right? The probability of the accident happening just increased more and more, but you just happened to, but just because it happened one time doesn't mean it was like all sudden. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't sudden. It's been building up slowly. Just the way success can be built up slowly, collapse is also built down slowly, I guess. So really be aware. Don't put everything all onto like some overnight, very quick thing that happens. It's never like that. And then he talked about the idea, the last one I'll talk about, it's happiness actually leads to success. Success does not lead to happiness. Time and time again, we see all these very successful people, wealthy or like very fit or have lots of girls or whatever the case may be, right? And they talk about this idea that, money doesn't actually bring you happiness. And people will still believe the idea because they want to chase money or whatever the case may be. They're like, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, but I'd rather be, lonely at the top than lonely at the bottom. I'd rather cry in a Benz than a Honda or whatever the case may be, right? And I feel like for that, you really do need to have some sort of material wealth, and then you'll realize it doesn't bring you happiness because at the end of the day, it's just another material, just another product that you're gonna buy. If you buy a Benz or a Rolls Royce compared to a Honda or Toyota or whatever, right? It really does make no difference because it's a car. It's going to take you from point A to point B. You just want to be able to say you have the Benz or Rolls or whatever, but then it's very short living, like short happiness, where you're like, as soon as you buy the car, yeah, maybe you're happy for a day, maybe a week, and then after that you're like, damn, I just spent $500,000 on this fucking car and it's not even making me any happier, right? And that's what the rich people realize. Like, they work so hard for such a long time, like 5-10 years, to make so much money, and then they finally buy the car and they realize it wasn't a material that was going to bring them happiness. And so in this book, he talked about the idea that happiness actually leads to more and more success, and I genuinely believe that as well, because like I explained, right, if some guy worked 5-10 years, he made a shit ton of money, and then he bought a Rolls Royce, and then he realized after a week that the car wasn't really what made him happy. It's always the journey, not the destination. And so you need to figure out how you can happily go through the journey and not just do it just to get to that certain place. Like, how can I enjoy learning or absorbing the skills of making money, not just to make it and buy a Rolls Royce? Like, the Rolls Royce would be the destination. Learning how to and actually accumulating the wealth would be the progress, right? Same thing with like going to the gym, right? If you're like, oh, I can't wait to have a six-pack one day, this and that, I'll get so much girls, everybody will think I'm cool, this and that, right? Having the six-pack would be the destination, the goal, but the actual journey would be you going to the gym on the day-to-day basis. And if you can understand and get yourself to actually enjoy it as a hobby, you won't ever even care about when you actually have the abs, because that's exactly what happened to me, right? All I wanted was to have abs. I thought I was gonna get all the girls out there, everybody's like, yo bro, you're so cool, this and that, whatever. And when I finally got the abs, nobody gave a shit. I looked in the mirror a couple of times and I was like, damn, this is what I worked 2 years for. Like, I stopped eating all the food I liked, I stopped seeing my family as much, this and that, whatever. But it's like, now I go to the gym because I like going to the gym. It's a part of my life. It's part of my life maintenance. It stacks a bunch of my other habits. So it's like, that was like another key thing in my life, where I realized it's always about the journey that you'll actually enjoy and not the destination. Destination is just a goal. And it's like, when you get to it, you just end up moving it. So like, say you work really hard for 5 years and you're like, oh, I want to buy a Benz, right? You work the 5 years, you actually make the money, you know how to make money now. You buy the Benz, you're happy for a week, you're like, damn, now I kind of want a Porsche. You do the exact same thing, you're happy for 5 years, and then you expect a Porsche to make you happy. Then you work another 5 years because you're like, now I kind of want a Rolls, right? Like, you just want to keep moving up. You just keep moving the goalposts, which is not bad. Keep obtaining your goals, keep working towards it, but understand that it's the journey that makes you happy, not the actual destination. And for you to make the journey happy, it's also like a mindset switch. Get your mind out of the idea that the outcome will make you happy. It's the inputs that will make you happy, right? The outcome would be the destination, the inputs would be the journey. And for you to make the inputs happy, that's based upon what you do on the day-to-day basis. So your day-to-day disciplines is what will make you happy. If it's you want a six-pack, you know the input is going to the gym. So understand why the gym will going to the gym on a day-to-day basis will make you happy. How can you make it How can you make it fulfilling for you? How can you make it sustainable? Because that's how you'll do it for a long enough period of time, where the success will naturally occur. It'll just happen. If you're working on business, what business activities can you do on a day-to-day basis that will make you happy? What will make you fulfilled? Don't just go into any business model knowing that all business models work as long as if someone else has success with it, it works for sure, right? So pick a business model that makes you happy, that makes you fulfilled. Don't just do it because you've seen someone else do it and it makes them money. You need to do something that works and fits for you and your style, right? Same thing with don't just get a girlfriend just to get a girlfriend. Everybody else in society has a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. I need one too. No, if it's not the right time for you, don't go for one. Do what works for you, do what makes you happy, do what makes you fulfilled, and then you'll become happy just based on doing the right things on a day-to-day basis, and that will lead you to more and more success. I'm telling you, happiness does lead to success, and once you get some success in any venture of your life, you'll understand what I'm talking about. In the end, we're all gonna win, I'm telling you.